All right, guys, we'll get started here in a minute or two. Let's get everybody on. Looks like we still have a couple people hopping on. Get this camera set up a little better. This will probably work pretty well. Yes, sir. Andreas, let's go. I'll give it 2 more minutes to get everybody on the call. So if you want to, get yourself a water, or we call it morning sales coffee. So I envision people probably have a coffee with them in the morning, you know, and we're going over sales together. So coffee, tea, water, whatever you guys want. Let's go. Yeah, let's get a couple more. What else we gotta add on? Participants. Okay, we got Andreas right there at the office. I see you, boys. Marquise. Give it a couple more minutes. Can you close that door, actually? Yeah, that'd be cool. How's it going over there? What are you guys drinking on? Anybody got any good morning drinks going on this morning? What you drink this morning? What you guys drink this morning, Tommy?
Oh, I got a little Starbucks, baby. You already know. Nitro cold brew.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Nice. Don't throw the cups away. You need those cups to make sales.
Oh, I know. I wouldn't walk into in home without it. That's why I got it this morning. Steal that.
Nice. All right. Well, if a couple people hop on, I might have to like pause and hit admit or something like that along the way. But it starts on the phones. Right? So I was going to hit on a couple pointers on the phones. Number one thing is understanding the numbers. So everybody got to understand the numbers. Right now, you know, you should be right around on an average. If you're average, 15 calls to talk to, 30 calls a set. You can definitely be better than that. But if you're above that, I'd be working on getting below that. So first I'd look right there. What are some ways that I can get below 15 calls to talk to, right? 15, making sure that I'm calling at the right times, making sure I'm calling at good times. Making sure, how about this? Instead, the sources that you're calling, right? You got to be calling the best sources. So you want to strike while the iron's hot. Time kills deals. So when you get leads, you want to make sure you obviously call them as soon as you possibly can, because the longer that it takes for us to get in touch with these people, the colder that it gets, regardless of when you got it or not, you have it, and you better, the longer that you have it, the colder that it gets, colder and older. So the other thing is referrals. You know, if you're looking at resources that you would want to call, that would be my primary source that I'd want to call, because they're going to be the highest call to talk to ratio, typically. But you have to call your referrals when? Soon as you get them. The longer that it takes for us to call them and talk to them and set them, obviously the harder it's going to get, the older and the colder they're going to get. So what I did is I learned the hard way, okay? And I would take my referrals home with me, and then I would like wait till call night. I'm like, oh, call night, I'll be zoned in on calls. So I'll just call them Thursday night. And I collected them Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night. And I would just put them in they're pieces of paper. I'd be in a home and I'd actually be writing them down on these cards. These were sponsorship cards. I'll tell them you could sponsor your friends and family for the same, benefits, and they'd fill out this card. And I take my referrals, whether they're written down for child safe or life insurance or whatever, and I would take all of them and I would just put them away. And then on call night, though, the rule was on call night, regardless now, definitely this still applies, okay, is when you call, you have to have like a pecking order, I guess that makes sense, right? In order of importance. So, what you want to call is you always want to call you always want to call your Wednesday bulletin, your underwriting bulletins, your policy mods. When you're making phone calls, you want to get those calls knocked out first. But as soon as those are done, we want to get right into referrals. Referrals should be the first thing that we call on call night and get those called. Then we call through our leads and then we call back through the referrals, So now on top of that, waiting till call night is obviously not the best situation. But on call night, you're always going to have referrals that need to be called because you just didn't get a hold of them over the last few days or whatever. So we have to take that referral from call night and we have to move it back from Thursday night. If I collected them on Tuesday night, I have to go back. I have to call them on Tuesday night, the day that I called them, or the day that I collected them, I'm sorry. And what I did is I was like, all right, as soon as I leave the house, I'm just going to call them on the way to my next appointment. And because we had to drive, so I would be driving to my next appointment, right? And on my way there, I would be trying to call the referrals that I collected in the home. That was a little bit more effective, but it was still a cluster. I'm driving, calling, it still wasn't the best. So I had to take it another step further. And I said, you know what? I'm going to call them while I'm in the home. And what I told the client is the truth. Because what I found out, what they told us, and it's just the facts. It's that the moment that you leave the client's house, if they give you referrals, okay, and the moment that as soon as you leave that house, the chances of setting those referrals go down dramatically. And now you're fighting from here. It's like you're in the home and you have a high chance. As soon as you leave, they drop. It's a drastic drop as soon as you step foot out that door. And now you're fighting from the percentages of down here, whether you call them in the car as soon as you leave the home, whether I call them 3 hours later or the next night. And then obviously it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse, So from when you leave the home, every day, like it's going to go down slowly, slowly, slowly. Okay. That's not a bad, right? Look at this. From a whole week, it's going to go down from here to here, a very drastic decrease of how, right? But as soon as you leave the house, it's going to go from here to here. You see what I'm saying? So you have to understand that. And when I got a good understanding of that, I got very scared. I was like almost telling myself, dude, it's pretty much pointless if you collect these referrals and you don't set them in the home. Might as well not even take the time to collect them. Don't even waste your time and collect the referrals if you don't plan on calling them and setting them in that home. And that was the mind flip that I had that took my referral game to the next level. Now you don't have to make as many phone calls to get that many talk tos. And what's cool when you talk to these people is you'll set a higher ratio than normal as well. So that's just slowing down a little bit, taking time in the home like a professional, going through the steps. And the one line is basically, I say, so Joe and Mary, I promise you that I do everything I can do. I promise you I'll do everything I can. to make sure that I get these benefits over to your friends and family. And you could throw in specifics like I probably if you're working AIL plus card, let's just say for instance, you could say, Joe, Mary, I promise you I'll do everything. As you know, I run a very busy schedule, but I promise you I'll do everything I can to make sure that I get the AIL plus card over to your mom and to your cousin and to the other 3 friends that you referred that you need to get this over to as well, so that they can they can have access to this and they can start taking advantage of all the benefits like you and your family and all the other members are able to do so right now. So I promise you I'm going to do the best I can. But what they found is that if we do not give them a call now and get them on my schedule, the chances of us getting the benefits out to them go down dramatically whenever I leave here. So what we need to do is just give them a call now and get them right on my schedule. That way we don't have to worry about it. So let's just give your mom a quick call now. All right. How about you want me to call her? You can call her. I could give her a call if you wanted to call her either way, you know, and we can FaceTime her if you want, you know, and then you say, well, and she'll call or you call either way. And what happens though is a lot of times when they call, they'll end up giving you the phone anyways. You know, this is obviously in-home situations, right? So over Zoom, be a little bit different, right? But what we could do though on Zoom, you know, I'll be like this. I'm like, you want to know what, Joe and Mary? I have a client that I need to see at 6 o'clock tonight. But if you can get your cousin to hop on Zoom now, I can actually get the benefits over to your cousin. You don't have to stay on. I know you need to hop off, but maybe we could get your cousin to hop on Zoom real quick and I could get them taken care of. And you could just go Zoom to Zoom to Zoom from family members, rolling referrals. You could just be zooming around through the family and friends, you know, all in one day. And that would be a vision and a goal to have. So the line is, and it's true, you know, when you tell this to a client, if you say this to somebody, the chances of us getting these child safety kits, the chances of me getting over to your neighbor, the chances of us getting out to your mom and dad, they go down dramatically as soon as as soon as we leave this meeting here today. So what they need us to do, and what we're not saying enough, is what they need us to do, guys. You know, we have to be putting it on them and what they're telling me to do. You've been directed to do this. What they need us to do, they need us to give them a call now and just get them right on my schedule. That way we don't have to worry about it. So let's just give them a quick call now. We'll just get them right on my schedule. And that way we don't have to worry about it. We'll give your mother a call first, and then we'll give your brother a call after that. Okay? How about you start giving them a call? So, so anyways, that's one way to manipulate the system for yourself in a highly advantageous way. Now, the second thing would be is talk tos to sets. So if it's taking you 15 calls to get a talk to, make sure you're calling at the right times and all that. But the next thing is if it's taking you now 30 calls to get a set, that means that it's taken us 2 talk tos to get 1 set. And I'll tell you guys, I looked at the numbers last week, looked at the numbers the week before, and you know, whether everybody just got a brand new fresh pack of leads or maybe it's their second or third week with their lead pack, they're still the same. They're all the same. Take the whole month, take the last 6 months, average it all out, we're at 15 and 30. Some people are crushing it. Some people in the agency, they're like 8 phone calls to get 5 phone calls to get one talk to. I don't know. You know, in some weeks they're crushed. They're having a better side. They're 10 phone calls to get talked to, you know, and they're setting, you know, 5 out of 6 people they talk to instead of 1 out of 2. Right. Some people on the other end are taking 35 phone calls to get a set, 40 phone calls to get a set. Their numbers are higher than average. And that's why you have an average, because some people are over here, some people over here, and that's what the average is. So with those numbers, you know, we just have to think, how can we control every aspect of it to shave off some percentages here, increase the percentages here, right? And there's certain things that you can say and do to do that. You know, we'll go over some fundamentals of phone calls as well. You know, saying like want versus need. You know, one big thing, and this is not, I should be waiting till we talk about phone calls to do this. This is a little tangent, but I think this will help us in general in life, guys. Just this is life training, because, you know, life is a bunch of sales, man. So if you're trying to sell an idea on somebody, right? You know, if you say that I want this versus we need that. I want this. That's like a kid almost, you know? I want candy. We need to eat dinner. I want candy, or we need to eat dinner. What do you think is going to get more attention, more energy, more focus? What do you think is somebody's going to buy into more? Right? So when we use the term I want, and a lot of times it get people make it worse, because we go, which we think it's better, but I use it wrong. I just want. It's like you're almost lowering, you know, you're like not making it that important. We really need, and you can say we just need, if you want. But those are 2 ways to just phrase things when you're in the home, or if you were on the phones, either way. But anyways, so how can we close the gap from calls to sets? Calls to sets? Well, obviously for call referrals, boom. Second thing though, got to be on script. Got to be on script. Never make phone calls without your rebuttals right in front of you. Script and rebuttals always should be in front of you. Even me, if you guys are like, hey, Tommy, you want to make some calls? I'm like, all right, where's the script? Where's the rebuttals? Boom. And I'm like a robot, you know, just plug it in and I'll just literally read the script, say the things on there, just add a little bit of you know, enthusiasm before we make phone calls. You know, there's a bunch of key things to making phone calls. You know, you should never just pick up the phone and make a phone call. Your first phone call should never be to a client. So who should you call? You should role play at least with somebody. Get it flowing a little bit. Just in case you do mess up, I'd rather mess up on my friend, you know, or my manager than on a real live client. So that's why we have professional football players who go out an hour and a half before the game and do walkthroughs and warm-ups, and they've been playing the game their whole entire lives. Like, how many times do you think Big Ben or Tom Brady took snaps under a center? Since they were a teeny little pup. When Big Ben was little Ben, they would say, hey, little Ben, you're 7 years old. Go practice taking snaps under the center. When he was 10, practice snaps. Now he's 37. I'm talking, he's been doing this for 30 years. Don't you think if anybody in the world can say, hey, coach, I don't need to warm up. I'm Big Ben. I've been taking snaps under the center for 30 years. I don't need to practice with my center today before the game. I don't need to do any warm-up throws before the game. I don't need to practice the plays with the team before. He's a professional. We've been doing this for 30 years, and he still does that? There's something to be said about that. So since when do we get so good that you could just pick up the phone and go make professional income? And you don't want to do what professionals do, which is warm up, prepare. That's why I want to get a quote in the back room. You know, I was telling somebody last night, I'm going to get my own pictures made in the office. One of them's going to say, professional preparation provides a professional paycheck. The 5 P's of earning professional income. Professional preparation provides a professional paycheck. Those are the 5 P's of professional income. So I think it comes down to professionals just put a little bit more preparation in what they do on all aspects, you know, on everything, on everything, man, you know? So, but one thing is it just something to be said about it is warming up a little bit. So anyways, never make your first phone call to a client. Then now you're warmed up and you're ready to go. You know, you have to practice the intangibles. We have to practice the intangibles. So I would work on my phone voice. I would really work on it. I would work on it. I wouldn't just let my phone voice be my voice, you know? So you got to work on that. You know, you can't just say, well, I am who I am. We all who we are, but when we get on the phones, we got to be a little different. You know, you got to be in the zone. I call it the phone zone. You know, you got to get into the phone zone mentally and ask your peers, how do I sound on the phone? Am I clear? Do I sound important? Do I sound busy? Do I sound like I'm in control? Right? You got to be busy, important, and in control. We all know that, right? It's on the top of our scripts, should be. So now you got to remember the key components, though. And the components are, you know, the first thing is you got to have energy, and you have to have urgency. Those are almost intangible things: energy and urgency, and control. So notice how control's in both of those. Like there's like, hey, you got to be busy, important, and in control. And then the other thing is, you know, it's energy, urgency, and control. So here's what you do, okay? You bring in energy into the beginning of that phone call, because people don't want to, they don't want to deal with people that are bored. You know, they just don't want to, they don't want to know a telemarketer calling them. You know, so you're definitely not a telemarketer. You're calling them with something that they've never seen before, never heard about before. They don't even know what it's all about. And you have to bring energy to where they're going to want to hear you, you know, and energy is going to put energy through the phone into them. So I always tell people that when you get phone calls from numbers you don't know, a lot of times you don't even answer. And if you do answer, right, you're usually answering like this: hello? You know, like, who is this? You're very sketchy, right? So that's why we have to get right into it, catch them, like catch their attention. So you catch their attention, obviously, with their name. Okay. I don't know if you guys are doing this. I think you're doing this. Okay. But make sure your beginning of your phone call goes something like this: ring, ring, ring. And then they go like this. They're going to say hello. And you're going to say, Matt. Hey, Matt, this is Tom Vena with American Income. We take care of the benefits for you through the Steelworkers, Local 1743. Yeah, I actually have that 3x5 card that you filled out here. I need to verify the information that you wrote down on it, and I'll get your benefits out to you real quick. First of all, Joe, looks like you wrote down blah, 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 blah. That's how I get into my calls. You guys are calling up, going, hello, is Matthew in? Hey, Matthew, this is Tom Vena with American Income. We take care of the benefits for you through your steelworkers. How are you doing today? That's how you guys are calling. No bueno. I don't have time to ask them how they're doing today. I'm busy. Listen, hey, I'm American Income. I got your benefits through the steelworkers. I got your 3x5 card. I need to verify this shit, and I need to get you off my phone. So I need to verify the information, and I'll get you off the phone real quick. Looks like you wrote down your address as 123 Sesame Street over in Glenview, Illinois. Is that still correct? Okay, great. For the life insurance that they picked up for you and some additional benefits through the steelworkers, you listed your beneficiary as your wife, Martha. Is that still going to remain the same? Okay, perfect. Now, John, it looks like you wrote down on your card. You got to tell them you wrote down. We're calling them, and I hear people saying, we have your address as 1774 South Main Street. Is that still correct? You have my address? How'd you get my address? You have my address? What else do you have of my information? That's not what we say. You wrote down. Looks like you wrote down. Looks like you filled out. Looks like on your response card, you filled out your address as. And when you filled it out for the email address, you listed johnsmith@gmail.com. Is that still correct? Perfect. That's how you want to do it, okay? So you verify the information, and then you say, I need to verify the information. I'll get you off the phone real quick. That's the beginning of the phone call. But the first three things you say is you go, like, for instance, if the guy fills out the card and his name's Matthew, right? I'm not calling up. And if a guy answers the phone, I'm not saying, hello, is Matthew available? Well, I just called listen, if somebody wrote down a name and a number, who do you think you're calling? Who did you think you were calling? You know? So, and then a guy answers. So if you call the number, a guy answers, I'm going to assume it's Matt. And I'm not going to call him Matthew either. Like, you gotta roll with that, you know? Matt. Hey, Matt. That's the first three words. You know, now if you didn't know, sometimes names are important to people. So if you take the time to get their name right, they'll appreciate that. Right? So like, I don't know, let's say the guy's name was William, right? I call him, ring, ring. I'd say, William. He'd be like, yeah, this is Will. That's what they'll do. I'm telling you. And if they don't, they're like, yeah, this is him. Like, William, hey, Will, this is Tommy. Do people call you Will or Bill? What do your friends call you? Get that off the table as quick as you possibly can. You know, because I would sure hate to continue a conversation calling me Thomas when you could call me Tommy. Like, if you called me up, honest to God, if you called me up right now and did whatever it was for, anybody, if it was Comcast or whatever company called me up, I get phone calls. And if the person is a good salesperson, they would say they'd say, you know, we're calling for Thomas. Yeah, this is him. I was like, okay, hey, you know, hey, Thomas, this is John with blah, 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 blah. You know, what are your friends? Do they call you Tom or Tommy? You know, what should I call you? You know, so get the name out there, get it right, you know, because you know, obviously, you want to have a long relationship with the person too. So it's a good way to establish that. But if you can just get if you don't need to go through that whole what do they call you conversation, that's even better. But anyways, so John, hey, John, Tom Vena with American Income, giving you a call about your benefits through your steelworkers, local 1743. I actually have that 3x5 card that you filled out here. I just need to verify the information that you filled out, and I'll get you off the phone real quick. You know, so you could even say, like, if you really wanted to, I don't even want to tell you guys to do this. So, but sometimes, like, you could give them the old one-liner where you're like, you got a quick second for me, John? But I don't even hit them with that. No, I usually do that with different type of phone call. When I'm setting appointments, I just say, I just need verified information and I'll get you off the phone real quick. So, Andreas, it looks like you wrote down your address is 1743 Marquise Avenue over in Macon, Illinois. Is that still correct? Okay, great. And it looks like for your benefits that they picked up for you, and you have life insurance through the Steelworkers, you listed your beneficiary, your wife, Martha. Is that still going to remain the same? Is that still correct there? Okay, great, perfect. And the last thing is, looks like for your address or for your, what do I got it there? Oh, for your date of birth, you wrote down, July 4th, 1976. Is that still correct? All right, great. Now, Joe, now, Andres, it's just my job to deliver and explain the benefits to you and your family and make sure you guys you're caught up with all the other members. I actually have a really booked up schedule right now, Andreas. What do I say? I have a little bit of time tomorrow, but between 5 and 6, and I have some time a little bit later on Wednesday, between 9 and 10. What time works best for you and your wife? Tomorrow or on Wednesday? Tomorrow works best? Okay, great. Well, you know what, Andres? If you could do me a favor, go ahead and grab a quick pen and paper. Grab a pen and paper real quick. I have some very important information that I need you to write down. All right, go ahead, take your time. Are you on your smartphone right now? Okay, nice, nice. Yeah, let me know when you have a pen and paper. Are you at your house? Right now, you're already home? Oh, good. So you can just grab a nice pen and paper there, because I'm going to have you write this down. And for our meeting, there'll be some steps for us to go through. So I just want to make sure we get you set up here properly, and I'll get you off the phone here real quick. So make sure first of all, my name again, Andreas, is Tommy, T-O-M-M-Y, last name Vena, V as in Victor, E-N-A. And then we have tomorrow, which is going to be Tuesday. That'll be Tuesday, December 8th, between 5 and 6 p.m. Okay. Confirmation for your appointment, if you want to put your confirmation number down, would be, this is just to confirm our meeting. It's X78LM. Okay. Can you read that back to me real quick? All right, perfect. Now, for for your benefits, typically we meet with all of our families in person. However, due to the pandemic, they're actually offering Zoom meetings as well. So I'll be out in your area on Tuesday, so I can meet with you in person, actually. But if you would prefer a Zoom, I can also meet with you on Zoom. What would work best for you? Okay, in person, no problem, Joe. All right, well, that means that, I'll be seeing you and your wife at your house. And basically, we'll just spend time at your kitchen table with you and your wife, Mary. So if you please let your wife, Mary, know, or Martha, that I'm going to be there between 5 and 6. I sure would hate for her to miss us. Now I will be coming all the way out from the whole other side of town, a couple hours away, okay, just to meet with you and a couple other members. So I just need to make sure, Joe, is there any reason why 5 to 6 wouldn't work for you? Is there any reason why you and the wife wouldn't be home tomorrow? I know everybody's pretty much locked down anyways, but I just need to make sure because they don't reimburse me for gas, and I sure would hate to miss you and your wife. So any reason why that wouldn't work for you? No? Okay, great. Now, for tomorrow, between 5 and 6, I'll be looking forward to meeting with you and your wife, and I'll be looking forward to get you guys all caught up with all the other members. Does that sound good, Joe? All right, great. Hey, you guys have a great night, and I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Take care. So that's how I book them in person. If it was over Zoom, I'd say, oh, you guys want to do Zoom? Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect. So are you familiar with Zoom? Are you familiar with the video conferencing Zoom? Teachers are using it, doctors are using it, schools, a lot of businesses right now. and our clients are loving it. It's great. So are you, and I say, he might say yes or no. If they're not familiar, I say, if you're not familiar, the best thing about it, it's so easy. Literally, I could send you, I'll just send you a link. You click on the link, and we'll be able to deliver your benefits to you right through the Zoom. So you have a tablet or a smartphone available right now? How about what I'll do is basically to confirm our time tomorrow between 5 and 6. What I need to do is I just need to send you a link right now. And while we're on the phone, Andreas, if you could just click on that link, that'll confirm everything for us, okay? Now, if you do not have Zoom on your phone, then it'll prompt you to do that. Now, if I could ask you, what would be better is if you could go to your computer real quick, and I could send you the email. And if you could pull it up on your email, that might even be better. So do you have a computer available? Looks like or sounds like you're at your house. You said you're at your house. Do you have any laptops? And if I could get them to get the laptop, then I'll send them the email. But either way, I'm going to make sure that they get the Zoom downloaded, and they got it on their phone. And then once that happens, I say, so now the last thing is they'll check that we got to check the connectivity just to see if this is going to be possible. I sure would hate to plan a Zoom call with you and us take a whole time slot to meet with you, and then us find out that the Zoom doesn't even work. So we need to make sure that it works now, so we don't run into technical difficulties later. Then you can pull them up on the Zoom and say, okay, hey, Joe, this is great. Looks like we are live. We are connected. Okay. I look forward to meeting with you and your wife on Thursday, on Tuesday, tomorrow. Okay. Literally it'll be the same link we're on right now. I will have all your benefits ready and prepared for you, and we'll get you guys all squared away. Okay. So, and now you could even do one more solidification with them while they're on the phone with you. So like I said, just to make sure that tomorrow, 5 to 6, any reason why that wouldn't work for you? Perfect. Great. We'll get excited. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. And now I solidified with them in person on a Zoom. So that's going to increase our show ratio, because right now, guys, our show ratio can use some work. We got to increase our show ratio. Make sure that we're not missing appointments because of our own doings. It would not, if I had 20 appointments set and I saw 5 people and I missed, but I missed 5 people because it was my fault. You really should have saw 10. That wouldn't be cool. You want to make sure that if you set 20, you're at least seeing 10. So anytime you look at your show ratios, you got to at least be half. If you're not half on the show ratios, check, your scheduling. First of all, make sure you're not over scheduling yourself, which I've seen people do, where they get caught in a sit and then they runs too long, and then they have to reschedule an appointment. Or they showed up late themselves to their 2 o'clock and the person wasn't there anymore. Like they clicked on at 2 o'clock or something, and you were just late. You clicked on at 2:05 for just a knucklehead reason. That happens. I guarantee you throughout the week, you would think like, no way, there's no way. I guarantee you throughout the week, we have professionals that are really good. They still will get caught up doing this, caught up doing that, think that it's and then we'll open the thing up and they won't be there or something. Well, these people, you know, who we're setting appointments with, they're already sketchy. So if, you know, you're not on the call when they hop on the call, I think it would raise up a couple of flags. As long as you know, you got to be communicating, but still, you know, we don't want to be missing appointments really. And we do not want to be pushing those appointments back or rescheduling appointments. You know, that's just because we fight so hard to get them. So, you know, we want to just make sure that we are executing our schedules. And I think some people on this call are probably thinking, why the heck is he talking about this most basic, fundamental thing of like telling somebody you're going to be somewhere and being there, right? But I think that is a problem that runs in the human race. It's just a major overall problem of humans, is that they have problems telling people they're going to do something and then they don't do it, you know, saying they're going to be somewhere at a certain time and then they just don't make it, you know, and that not everybody does that. You'd think that people do, but they don't, you know? So let's try and stand by that as best as we can. And if we do miss a meeting, it's because of the client, not because of us. Okay. You know, so, and that's going to happen. So let's talk about clients, you know, clients missing calls. What can we do to increase that? Right. So when we go back to the phone call, if you notice, you know, the energy comes in at the beginning, the urgency is in, you know, I have a very busy schedule over the next few days, but I have time tomorrow between 5 and 6, or I could squeeze you in on you know, Wednesday between 9 and 10. So when you say I have a very busy schedule, you know, I'm going to be in the area catching up with the rest of the members. I have a very busy schedule, but I can squeeze you in. Those are 3 terms that add urgency into what you're doing and making you seem busy, right? So those are just some stuff you want to say. So that's the urgency piece. And then control comes in when the client asks you questions. You know, you want to go straight to your rebuttals and hit them with the rebuttals and come back into the phone call with, like I said, Joe, I have 5 to 6 tomorrow, or 8 to 9, or 9 to 10 on Wednesday. So hit them with the rebuttal, and then just remember this. Like I said, Joe, or not. So Joe, like I said, we have Tuesday between 5 and 6, or Wednesday between 9 and 10. What time works best for you and your wife? Oh, well, we're actually not going to be at home until Thursday. We're going to go stay at her mom's house. Oh, okay, great. Well, I have a pretty booked up schedule over the weekend, but I can squeeze you guys in. What time do you guys typically available on a Friday? Are you off on Friday? You're off on Friday? Okay, great. Well, what I can do is catch up with you a little bit earlier on Friday. I have time on Friday between, looks like right now, I don't know, between 11 and 12. That time will work good for you, right? So you want to hit them with that line. That time will work good for you, right? It's a way to help take control of the phone call a little bit. Because you established that they're off, you know, so sometimes they'll say like, well, what time you typically get home? Well, you know, Fridays is my early day. I'm usually home by 4, and Mary's home by 3. I'm like, okay, well, I'm pretty booked up a little bit later in the day, but I can catch up with you guys right at 5 p.m. That time will work good for you, right? You know, I wouldn't say 5, but I say between 5 and 6. That time will work good for you, right? Remember, when you're booking appointments, it's always going to be on the hour. So you should always tell them between 5 and 6. So I have either between 5 and 6 or between 9 and 10. It's always between 1 hour. Or if you want to do 2 hours, do 2. Some people will do. I don't mind either or, really. I haven't seen that much of a, you know, major difference in saying either one, but I've seen a major difference in not saying between. You could say between 1 or between 2 hours. It don't matter. Between 5 and 7 or between 5 and 6. But if you don't say between and you just say 5, major difference. Major difference. Because if I tell somebody that I'm going to meet with them at 5 o'clock, so tomorrow we got 5 o'clock, Joe. And number one, now I'm putting myself into a corner, because what if you're running a little bit late, especially if you have to drive? That's hard to bet. I never even been to North Brentwood, which is 3 hours away. I drive to this little town, and I got appointments all day in this little town, and I got an appointment at 3 over here. How do I know how long that 3 o'clock appointment's going to be? And then how long it's going to take me to even get over to this guy's appointment at 5 o'clock? Like, and now what happens, guys? I show up at this guy's house at 5:09, 5:10. He's standing on the front porch like this, with his arms crossed, right? Looking down at his watch, looking at me like this. You know what I'm talking about? Like, hey, you said 5 o'clock. Can't win. So you don't want to back yourself into a corner of having to be somewhere at 5 o'clock, right? Second of all, now I meet with him and he's like, hurry up. My sister's coming over at 5:30. She's picking me up at 5:30. We're going to Walmart. How long is this going to take? My sister's coming. I'm like, how? Like, why'd you tell your sister 5:30? He's like, you said 5 o'clock. I thought it was only going to be a half hour. Right? So he only plans out, when you tell him 5 o'clock, they only plan out 15 minutes for you, half hour. Happened to me before. So when you tell them an hour, guess what they have to, I said we're going to be meeting between 5 and 6. So why would you tell your sister 5:30? You wouldn't. They wouldn't. So that gives you an hour at least. At least you got an hour or 2, 5 to 7. At least you got them 2 hours where there's no way they blocked anything out. There's no way, right? Like the cable man said he's coming between 8 and noon. Oh, well, I was going to pick you up at 11. Just pick me up at 12. That way, right? If the cable man said between 8 and noon and your friend was going to pick you up at 11, what would you tell your friend? Same thing. So it gives you that time to breathe a little bit, and it makes them plan out a little bit. So, anyways, dude, I just got a text message from my buddy telling me that he's selling windows now. And if I need windows in my house, he can give me the hookup. I guess that's cool, but wait till I talk to him. He's going to be selling life insurance before he knows it. You don't get no residual income on them windows. So that just came across. I thought it was funny. But back to what we're talking about, the phone calls, right? What aspect of the phone calls were we talking about?
About setting the time, like between 5 and 6, or like blocking out that whole hour.
Yes. That's key. I guys, I apologize if some of this stuff is so basic, but that's really the stuff that keeps it together. And it's not the fancy stuff that really gets it done, guys. It's really not. If you can just master the basics, that's really where it's at. Out with the old and in with the new. You ever hear that? The old, the new. Is it frozen? How about now? Oh.
I hear you, but your picture's gone.
Just glitching out a little bit.
How about now?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I just can't see you.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Oh, there you go. Better?
Yep.
All right, I can see you guys now. So the saying is out with the old and with the new, right? Well, with us, we want to be out with the new and in with the old. We don't need to be recreating the wheel around here. We want to go back and find out what are the basic fundamentals of this business and master those. I think we try and get a little too fancy too quick. This is in football, it's blocking and tackling. Who won on Sunday? The team that did the best blocking and the best tackling. That's who won the game on Sunday. Period. Baseball. What's baseball? Pitching and catching. The team that pitched and catched the best won. Whoever had the best pitching, if you were better at pitching and better at catching the ball than the other team, you win. You know? That's really what it's all about, man. We got to, be masters of some of the basics on the phone fundamentals. And calling referrals should be a major part of all of our phone sessions. So a couple things I would, say with the referrals. Every referral is going to be a little different. So if you're calling for a child safe referral, right, that phone call is going to be different than calling for the health service, the AIL Plus card. Or, what we can do now, guys, is you can offer the $2,000 accidental death and dismemberment certificates to people. So you could tell somebody, hey, before the holidays, you could give around $20,000 out to your friends and family right now. And if they're married, you can give their spouse, you can double the amount, and you can give the spouse another $20,000. So you could give $40,000 away before the holidays, right here today, over the next 4 minutes. How'd you like to give $40,000 over the next 4 minutes? Let's get 10 married couples. You get 10 married couples. Joe gets a $2,000 certificate. Mary gets a $2,000 certificate. You just gave $4,000 away to your cousin and his husband and her husband. How about your mom and dad? How about your brother? How about your neighbor? Sure, go give them $2,000. It's your neighbor, right? Pretty cool. You give those away. And then we obviously have the contingent beneficiaries, which we're all masters of, and also we have VIBs, which would be value important brainstorm suggestions, which is how you get insurance referrals. So we should all know how to do that. I wish I could touch on that for a split second if you'd like. So VIPs, all you do is you say to the person, so Joe and Mary, what value did you find in working with me today? And, if I could ask you, what value did you find in the benefits that you took advantage of today? And you want to get them to tell you basically what they liked about you and what they liked about the program that they bought, because that's what you're going to ask later on. You're asking them because you're going to ask them in a second to refer you and your products. So you want them to resell themselves, basically to sell themselves on you again. Basically, sell me on me. Basically, you're telling them, tell me what. If I could just ask you, Joe, Mary, what value did you find in working with me today? And also, Joe, Mary, what value did you find in the benefit program that you enrolled in the benefits that you took advantage of today? What value did you find in that? Now they just told you how great you are. They just told you how great the products are. and you say to them this. You say to them, okay, Joe, I really appreciate that. And, you know, I work hard. You say something, but what I would say to them is I say, so just keep it with the script. You go like this. Okay, Joe, Mary, with that in mind, I have a very important question that I'd like to ask you. So you're going to say, with that in mind. With what in mind? Well, with everything that you just said about how awesome that I am and how awesome these products are, keeping all that in mind, I have an important question I'm going to ask you, okay? And when you do this, the client looks at you and you say, so I have a very important question I'd like to ask you. Okay, Joe, is that okay? And when they go, yeah. So after they give you that head nod, that okay, you're going to say, with your permission, I'd like to brainstorm with you about some people that you know that would benefit from working with me as well. With your permission. So if you don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. The only way I want to do this is with your permission, right? But with your permission, I would like to brainstorm with you about some people that you know that would benefit from working with me as well. Now, Joe, I know that you work down with a large group of guys down there, and they're all probably family oriented, just like you. So let's start there. Let's start there. You guys see, you got to say, let's start there. That means we're getting started. We're going to get started. We're going to keep on going. There's going to be more than this. So let's get started there. Or you could say, well, I know that you mentioned that your sister just had a baby and she just got married. So obviously, let's just start there, okay? And then we could talk about, so what you, and you can just use all the information that you gain from the rapport building. And that's why you build, we call it rapport for a reason, rapport with a purpose. You know, you got to build rapport with a purpose. You know, so when you're in the home, you know, obviously you're asking them questions about their family, about their friends, about activities, about groups that they do, you're learning, stuff like that. So at the end, you can throw out these suggestions from what you learned in the home. You could even, you know, you could just say, well, I know that you mentioned, you know, that your mom didn't have any life insurance. So let's get started there. You know, blah, blah, blah. So, and then you throw what's called suggestions out there. Suggestions. That's what VIBS is. So VIBS is value. I have you know, what value did you find in work with me today? I is important. I have a very important question I'd like to ask you. B is brainstorm. With your permission, I'd like to brainstorm with you about some people you know that would benefit from working with me as well. And S is suggestions. And you got to follow it up with suggestions, because when you say people that you know, their brains go like, people I know. I mean, I know people from grade school, high school, college. I played basketball. The one day I was at the gym with this guy, I think his name's Ronnie. Like, you know, they're thinking of everybody that they know. So we have to give them suggestions so that it's easier for them to do that, or it's not going to, it will be less effective, right? So that's the VIBS. And then we also have the catch-up program too, you know? So Joe and Mary, you know, right now they have us doing a catch-up program. Basically, there's a lot of members that still have not received their benefits that we still need to catch up with. And while we're meeting with you, they're asking us to catch up with any of the members that you know down at your organization that still might not have gotten their benefits, Joe. So who would be some people that you're working with right now that we should give a call to and try and catch up with? You know, so when you're meeting with them, the union people, you just do the catch-up program with them. That's all. You just say, we just need to get caught up and we need you to help us catch up with all the members. And that's the whole verbiage behind that. So there's many different avenues on them. And there's some, you know, verbiage that works pretty well with some of them. Like for the discount card, You know, I went over it a couple times with some people, but it's access. You know, right now, you know, the AIL Plus card, what they're doing is they're allowing us to give us to access that. Right now this card is allowing you to have access to the to take advantage of all the exclusive benefits. So with the AIL Plus card, this is giving you access to take advantage of all the exclusive benefits. Typically, you'd have to be part of an organization. You'd have to typically, you know, pay union dues. But right now, for a limited time, they're allowing you to have access to take advantage of all the other exclusive benefits. So those are some key verbiage there. But I don't want to keep you guys too long today. But let's crush it. Keep crushing it on the phones. Let's keep working on our phones. You know, and this is important, you know, because when we want to build our teams, this is going to be the foundation of everything, guys. So thanks for your time today, guys. Let's rock it.
Thank you, Tommy.
Hey, Tommy.
Appreciate you guys.